the seams are literally already unraveling. Some people may think they are actually getting the exact same item. So just comparing the two, I actually thought these were quite similar. They are just kind of like sliding every which way. I would love to see if Quince is even profitable. I am no stranger to dupes on this channel. In fact, some of my very first popular videos were activewear dupe videos. But high quality dupes used to be really hard to find. You had to know what the original product is that you were looking for. Then you had to scour Amazon, AliExpress, other obscure budget websites to find something that may or may not actually be good. A lot of the dupe websites just used images that they stole from the actual brand that they were duping and just put those on their website. So you really had a question of, okay, are you actually getting that, or are you getting some very poor quality knockoff? But that is all apparently changing now with Quince. If you haven't heard of Quince, let me give you a little brief background. Quince is a direct-to-consumer brand that focuses on high-quality basics made from premium materials, cashmere, silk, cotton, offered at relatively affordable prices. They've gone viral multiple times for their $50 100% Mongolian cashmere sweater, which from what I've seen actually gets really good reviews. But they make a lot of different clothing, including activewear, which is what we will be trying today. But they also make home goods, supplements, jewelry, kind of everything. So it does make me a little bit skeptical. How can you be good at all of it? They claim that they can sell these things at a more affordable price because their model cuts out traditional retail markups by selling online and working directly with their manufacturers. So they claim to have luxury essentials at a not luxury price. And I don't know about you, but I love a high quality, affordable piece. There are a lot of high quality, affordable pieces out there, and Quince definitely seems to be positioning themselves as that is what they're doing. So I bought all of this myself. This video is completely unsponsored. Quince actually did reach out to me a couple different times to sponsor a video, and I almost took the sponsorship because I've actually tried some of their clothing before. But when I saw they actually wanted me to promote their activewear, I said, no. I always try things myself. I take very few paid activewear sponsorships, and when I do, it's for brands that I've loved and trusted for a long time. I also at that point didn't even know that they did activewear, so I really did want to investigate it on my own. I feel like Quince is the first super mainstream brand to be so loudly advertising that they're selling dupes. If you don't know what a dupe is, essentially a dupe is a copy or similar design of kind of a more well-known mainstream item. Let's say the Lululemon Align leggings. There are a lot of Lululemon Align dupes. This is different than like a luxury counterfeit item where they are copying the logos and trying to actually pass themselves off as that item. A dupe definitely benefits from looking or feeling similar to the item that they're copying, but they're not trying to be that exact item. Anyways, as I was scrolling the Quince Activewear website, at first I thought it was just going to be basics because when it comes to their clothing, I have a couple sweaters and things, and I didn't really feel like those were trying to be dupes. But as I was scrolling their activewear section, I quickly realized that basically every piece was trying to be a dupe. And not only that, but every item they have has this comparison chart in the description that basically directly tells you what they're trying to be a dupe of. And I've just never seen a brand be just so obvious about that. And apparently Quince has gone under fire for this before. I believe it was Williams-Sonoma that's been suing them for their comparison charts like this. It's just a very bold thing to do. Like they're directly calling attention to the fact that this is a dupe. Let's look at an example together. We're going to look at the Power Up Longline Strappy Sports Bra. So as soon as I saw this, I immediately identified that this is a dupe of a very popular Lululemon bra, the Lululemon Energy Longline Bra. So they don't copy the name exactly, but when you look at the price, it does compare the price of the Lululemon version of the product versus their price. In this case, it's basically half the price. Quince Activewear comes in a pretty limited range of neutral colors. They definitely stick to neutral basics, which it's always great to have the basics. I do like my activewear to be a little bit more fun. And I definitely think that we need more affordable brands doing kind of fun activewear, but basics are always necessary, and it's safe for a brand like Quince to just sell basics. Size chart is extra small to extra large. So again, kind of a more limited size range. Again, they're not selling any like fringe colors. They're not selling any fringe sizes. And then if you scroll down further, you see the comparison chart. And this basically tells you exactly what they're duping. They always give 3 brands to compare to just as a reference. And only one of them is the one that they're duping. Sometimes it is the first one. Sometimes they're a little bit tricky and they put it as the second one in the column. In this case, it actually is the first one. This is a dupe of the Lululemon Energy Longline Bra. It tells you the price, the savings, and then some comparisons on other levels. Honestly, I don't really look at the other things too much. Then you scroll down again and they have a whole section on transparent pricing for every item. So it tells you the cost of materials, crafting, shipping. Basically their entire total cost. Then it compares it to the brand that they're duping. They do say that it costs the same for both their brand and the brand that they're duping, but I would say that they don't exactly know how much it costs to do that. Also, when you're selling the dupe, you didn't have to like have the designers and the testing and as much marketing as the original brand. So I definitely think it does cost the original brand a little bit more. So I do feel like that section comparing to the other brand is a little bit misleading, but if you just want to look at their cost, I think that they are being very transparent. And all of the items seem to have a very low profit margin. So honestly, I would love to see if Quince is even profitable. I kind of have questions if they are. So I ordered a ton of Quince's most popular activewear basics, and I either already have the item that it is supposed to be similar to, or I ordered the item it's supposed to be similar to. And for some of these, I'll be comparing them to an additional dupe, like something like CRZ Yoga, or I have the Costco version of the Vuori joggers as well that are like $13, much cheaper. So we have a lot of comparisons to do today. So let's try these all out and see if Quince is really our one-stop shop for basically all activewear basics and dupes you could ever need. First of all, a little section on order experience. I will say it was a little bit difficult to get a full outfit combo in the same fabrics that are kind of meant to go together because each piece only comes in like a limited number of basics. And if the sports bras would come in 4 colors, the leggings would also come in like 4 to 6 colors, but they wouldn't necessarily be the same color as the tops. So I didn't like that it was kind of a struggle to get a full matching set in the colors that I wanted. I will say the shopping experience was very easy. The website has a ton of info, very easy to order from. The images are very clear. So they definitely get full marks from me for website ordering experience. Some brands have very bad websites. They also have free standard shipping on all orders. I placed all of this in one order. Everything arrived within 5 days. But when I tell you over those 5 days, I was getting a Quince package here, a Quince package there, a Quince package to my front door, a Quince package to my patio. They were going everywhere. I think I got like 6 different packages for one single order. Like they shipped almost every single item in a different package, even though they were all coming from the same warehouse, it appeared. So I felt like that was very odd and probably expensive to ship every item separately, especially when the website does put a little emphasis on sustainability. I feel like it's not the most sustainable to use a different piece of packaging for like every single item. The website also said they use recycled materials to reduce waste. And I would say only about half of my items came in that like compostable style packaging. Other ones came in just like traditional packing. So kind of a weird delivery experience, but everything came in one piece. Additionally, they have a 365-day return policy, which is absolutely insane. And I will say both myself and Ian have both ordered from Quince in the past. He had a package that got lost and they just sent a whole new one right away. So they definitely strive to have a very good customer experience. So let's find out how good these dupes really are. Quince does compare all of these to the more high-end brands that they are duping. So some people may think they are actually getting the exact same item, but as they say on their website, they do work directly with their own manufacturers. And while there are endless dupe brands and TikTok shop influencers who will tell you that it is the exact same thing as the expensive brand, I'm just here to tell you it's just not going to be that way. It never is. In my 7 years of reviewing activewear, including dupes on YouTube, I have tried every single Lululemon aligned dupe in the book, and none of them are exactly the same. They can get the overall design structure pretty similar, but the fabrics are never the same. The seams tend to have little differences and things like that. The only dupes that I've ever seen that are truly like exactly the same have been like seamless activewear like Define, where I'm still not even convinced that Define doesn't drop ship. Again, this is all just my personal feelings, speculations, but yeah. So for each piece, we'll compare it to the original design to see how close they are. I'll point out any differences in design, fabric, etc. Then we'll talk about the overall item, quality, design, fit, and if I think it's worth it or not. Because just because something is a little bit more affordable and it's a dupe doesn't mean it's actually going to be worth it or even good quality. But it also doesn't mean it's going to be bad quality. There are good quality dupes out there. All right, we are starting off with the Lululemon dupes. These are the Quince Ultraform high-rise leggings. I got these in a size small and they were $39.90. These are a dupe of the Lululemon Align high-rise pant. I have the 25-inch in a size 6, and these are currently on the website for $98. I'm a true size small in most activewear brands. In Lululemon, I am between a 4 and a 6. I honestly do think Lululemon has incredible quality items. They are just obviously very expensive, and personally, it's hard when I'm in between sizes. And if you look at the Quince size chart, they do just have extra small through extra large, and they compare a 4 and a 6 to their size small. So I do have a mix of 4s and 6s in Lululemon to compare to the Quince size smalls. So looking at these side by side, the design structure is very similar. Their stitching is nearly identical. The waistband height is the same. They both have front seams, extended gussets. They both have the hidden front pocket in the waistband. And then in the back, they are pretty similar, but I will say that the Lululemon Aligns have a very slightly V-tapered seam. It's super, super slight, but Quince is definitely just a little bit more straight flat across. Quince is made of a 78% nylon, 22% spandex, and the Nulu fabric of Lululemon is 80% nylon, 20% lycra elastane. I will say, just by feeling these, I did think that these were going to be a great fabric, but everything changed when I put them on. Really, the number one thing that is kind of undupable about Lululemon Aligns is the way that the Nulu fabric just hugs the body so well. Do I think that there's really amazing fabrics out there that come close? Absolutely, but I don't think this Quince fabric is one of them. Honestly, the fabric and the fit on these was very disappointing. These are a size small and the Lululemon is a size 6. And the Quince smalls, which are supposed to be between a 4 and a 6, were even bigger and they were kind of big and awkward in the hips, but they still were giving me some crotch tension with that front seam, so it was creating some unsightly details. I'm overall just feeling very underwhelmed and unimpressed with the quality of this fabric. It feels really good in the hand, it looks really good, but when you put it on your body, it's super thin and not in a way that just hugs all of your curves. It's very slippery and just kind of slides around a lot and absolutely does not stay in place. These would fall down very easily. So I do have a little try on of these. So I was really prepared to be impressed with these because the fabric felt really similar in my hands. This is exactly why I didn't take the sponsorship, because I wanted to try these for myself, because I do not like these at all. The fit is really weird. The fabric, first of all, the Lululemon Align fabric, I have the OG Aligns, so they just hug the body so well. And these, the fabric is thin and low compression, but not in a way that hugs the body. You can tell I have extra room around here. It's actually quite slippery, so they are just kind of like sliding every which way. They are not hugging to my body at all. Somehow I have all this extra fabric in the hip here, but I feel like it's still like causing me camel toe. It's just really, really an uncomfortable fit here. I'm not a front seam girl, but they don't all cause me problems. These are really causing me problems. So I'm very unimpressed with these. Just reviewing these as a whole, we have a high rise front seam. We do have the extended gusset. I feel like it's sitting back pretty far. Like, this fabric really does feel nice in the hand, but it just does not feel nice on the body. No side seams. We do have the little hidden pocket that the Aligns do as well, so they do have that feature. The seam sits a little bit on top of the glutes, but not too much. I would give these a medium on the booty scale. Very thin and slightly slippery fabric with a very light brushed feel, so really not going to get any cellulite coverage, but I definitely appreciate that they have 3 inseam options on this one. Overall thoughts on these leggings: are they a good dupe? I would say structure and design wise, yes, but fabric wise, no. These also are $40 leggings with a front seam. There are really great $25 Align dupes on Amazon that have a similar structure and I feel like better fabrics. If you're looking for a dupe of the Align no-line leggings, highly recommend the Colorful Koala Dream Luxe. They actually came out before the no-line leggings, but they are very, very similar. So that's my go-to when I look for an Align dupe. I think Align dupe is really thrown around like a little bit too much, but I believe those are like $32, which is cheaper than the $40 leggings here. So these are a pass. Next up for Lululemon dupes, we have the Quince Power Up Longline Strappy Sports Bra. I got this one in a size small and this was $29.90. And this is a dupe for the Lululemon Energy Longline Bra. I got a size 6 in this one. It's $68 and this is also the B to D cup version. So comparing these, the Lululemon one is made of their Luxtreme fabric, which is a compressive, sleek performance material. It's a nylon lycra elastane blend. The Quince bra is made of a pretty different fabric. It's a lightweight, stretchy, brushed material. More similar to the fabric they did for the leggings. This is made of a recycled nylon spandex blend. So just comparing the two, I actually thought these were quite similar. They both have scooped necklines. They both have the elastic, the long line portion, and then a little tiny seam at the bottom. That was all very similar. They both have removable cup pads. And they both have the little strappy design and detail in the back where it comes onto the bra band a little bit. I will say the Lululemon straps are just a little bit more substantial and a little bit thicker. Overall, I get very similar coverage. I do get a little bit more support in the Lululemon one just because it is made of that more compressive material. A little bit more info on the Quince one. I do find this to be true to size. If you're in between, you could really go either way. We have a full coverage, a low to medium support, and it is large cup size friendly. In terms of how good of a dupe this is, I think it is very similar, and I think this is a really nice bra. It had good coverage, the material felt nice. I didn't have any issues with this one. Oh, Peach, you've joined us. Hey, hey, what up, girl? What do you want? You want a comfortable place to sit? Should we make that for you? Why don't you sit right here? I know. The velvet, it's slippery. She doesn't like the velvet. Oh, Peach is okay. Oh. So is the Quince Power Up bra worth it? I would say that this one is worth it. This is a very nice bra. I did want to just quickly compare the cup pads from the Lululemon versus the Quince. I felt like the Quince cup pads did feel a little bit thin and flimsy, and they were pretty crinkled when I put them on. I was able to smooth them out and they're not too bulky. I think the Lululemon cup pad has just a nicer shape. It's a slightly ventilated foam design as well and just fits the bust a little bit better than this kind of flimsy like semicircle shape. The Quince version is definitely more similar to Lululemon than the CRZ version of the bra, but I do like the CRZ cup pads a little bit better, a little bit more structured, a little bit larger. There's no seam at the bottom of the CRZ one, but there is at the bottom of the Quince. And the CRZ straps are a little bit thicker, but they don't have that cute little like external crisscross design that the Quince and the Lululemon one have. So both good options. These are both the same price, but yeah, I would say that the Quince one is worth purchasing. This is a nice bra. Next up, we have the Quince Ultraform V-neck cropped tank versus the Lululemon Align tank, an OG. So I got a size small in the Quince. This was $29.90. In the Lululemon Align tank, I got a size 4. I did also get the A to B cup version, even though I am a larger cup size, just because I figured the Quince one would probably be more tailored towards the small cup size. So that's why I got that one. I got a size 4 in this one and it is $68. So differences right off the bat, the Lululemon Align tank is made of Nulu. So it is that very body hugging, lightweight, brushed feel. Hugs all of your curves really well. Peach, if you sit on my lap, I'm gonna get too hot. I'm gonna get too hot. I know. The Quince tank is made of the same material as those initial Align dupe leggings. It is a very lightweight, kind of more slick and slippery feel. And it became pretty obvious that I wasn't going to like how the Quince was going to fit when I laid them down next to each other. And you can see that the Lululemon Align tank just has this really nice V neckline and kind of like more wide shoulder shape. Not that it would only work on wide shoulders, but it just sits kind of like right over the armpit area. And the design of the Quince tank just honestly seemed pretty unrefined. Really the only similarities were the fact that it's a tank, it has a V neckline, and it has the seam detail. But you can see the V neckline is really far in. The armpit area also really scoops in towards the pec. So you just get this area that really highlights like the armpit fat area, which is a totally natural area to have fat. But personally, I liked where the Align tank sat better. I also found the Quince top to be true to size in the inner shelf lining, but the outer tank area was kind of awkwardly loose and ran really big. So for the Quince Form tank, I do think overall it runs a little bit big, so if you're in between sizes, I would be sizing down. It's a medium coverage, a low to medium support. It does have a full shelf liner with an underbust elastic and removable cup pads. I would still say that it's large cup size friendly, and it is a cropped fit. So overall, the Quince Form tank, I don't think it was a very good dupe of the Align tank. The Align tank neckline and fit just is a lot more refined and flattering. The Quince was kind of awkwardly placed and awkwardly baggy. So not only is this tank not a really great dupe, but it just really isn't a great piece overall. So this one is not worth it. Our final Lululemon comparison piece, we have the Quince Ultraform Slim Jacket. I got a size extra small. This one is $49. And then we have an OG, the Lululemon Define Jacket. I have this one in a size 6, and this one is $128. This was kind of an old limited edition fabric. They do mostly make this in the Nulu fabric now. So comparing the designs of these, Quince actually did get pretty close. When you look at the neckline, they both have that same little protective zipper garage feature. They both have pretty bulky full zips as well as the zippered pockets. I don't like how bulky Lululemon zippers are here when I've seen some really nice jacket pockets with almost like a hidden zipper, but Quince did duplicate that well. Lululemon, I would say, is an over the hip length, while the Quince jacket is more of a mid hip length. And Quince also incorporated some of the other features like that seam detail that kind of curves around the bust area, the thumb holes with the little hand pockets, as well as the mesh ventilated back. So those things were all very similar. Here's where I feel like Quince missed the mark a little bit. I sized down to an extra small in the Quince, which would be like a Lululemon size 2 to 4. And I feel like the fit in the waist is actually similar to my Lululemon size 6. I kind of saw this on the models on the website, which is why I chose to size down. But overall, I feel like Quince doesn't have like a very fitted waist area, which isn't necessarily a design flaw. Not everyone wants tight things on their waist. But I think when you're trying to dupe products that do have a little bit more of a fitted structure, it does kind of feel like you didn't quite nail the fit. So I do feel like this jacket runs quite big. This again is made of their Ultraform fabric, so it is very thin for a jacket. The weight of this material really would be better for a shirt, but again, not necessarily a problem. And while this jacket is $49, I will say when it comes to affordable brands, I'm very well versed in affordable brands and affordable jackets, and most affordable jackets don't really go below that $40 price point. And for example, CRZ Yoga, which is a popular dupe brand on Amazon, their jackets tend to be around the same price. So I was about to say that this jacket was worth it until I started getting some issues. Whenever I'm reviewing a new brand, I do like to do a pretty thorough search of all of the seams and everything just to make sure the quality is there. And because Quince compares themselves to such high quality brands, I didn't really expect to have quality issues. But almost right away, I noticed in the sleeve area, the seams are literally already unraveling. And the seam by this thumb hole just kind of like goes up awkwardly when it was supposed to follow the line of the other seams. So do I think if you pointed out that quality issue to Quince customer service that they would send you a new one? Yes. So overall, is this one worth it? I would say maybe. It's definitely a pretty close dupe to the Lululemon Define jacket. I don't love the fit overall. Honestly, guys, based on everything I've heard about Quince and just like feeling these things, taking them out of the package, I really was expecting to love everything and be impressed and have another like really good affordable brand that I could recommend for you guys. But so far, everything is feeling like a very like low effort, kind of like cash grabby dupe. I actually like some of the Quince lifestyle pieces that I have, so I thought that these would be pretty good. And I'd rather them just create activewear basics that actually have a really solid, flattering fit than just like trying to be dupes that are falling short. This is how Peach would like me to sit for the rest of the video. Isn't it, girl? And like I said, I'm no stranger to affordable jackets, so I just want to share a jacket at the exact same price as the Quince jacket that I actually do feel like has a really good fit and fabric. This is the Camo Fitness Serenity Nyla jacket. I wear a size small in this one. This is made of their Serenity fabric, which has a little bit more structure compared to that Quince jacket. It has more of a medium body compression. We still have the flattering seams. We have the hidden type zippered pockets. We have the little zipper garage. We have tonal zippers. We have the thumb holes and the hand pockets, and we have the mesh ventilation in the back. The fit and the fabric on this one clearly just had more testing behind it, and the design is just so much more refined. So this would be my choice for an affordable jacket. All right, that was our biggest category. Now we are moving on to Beyond Yoga dupes. So Beyond Yoga is very well known for their space dye fabric. That's personally really like the only fabric I think I've tried from them. I really do love their space dye fabric. It is an ultra soft heathered material, similar to Aloe Yoga Aloe Soft, Petula Bear, Buff Bunny Dream Heather, that kind of more dense, really body hugging, brushed heathered fabric. I have shopped Beyond Yoga on occasion because they do have like cute patterns and styles, but I do feel like compared to Lululemon, where all of their designs are pretty refined, Beyond Yoga, sometimes the designs can be like a little bit too thick of straps, a little bit of like clunky seam detail, if that makes sense. So first up for our Beyond Yoga comparisons, we have the Quince Ultra Soft High Rise leggings in a size small 28 inch. These are $39.90 compared to the Beyond Yoga Space Dye Cotton Midi High Waisted legging. These are a size small and these are $99. So comparing the structure of these side by side, I would say that these are not very similar. They really just took the entire design structure of their Align dupe and just made it in a different fabric. This is what I mean by like low effort dupes. You're gonna imply it's a dupe for the Beyond Yoga Space Dye when they're actually not similar at all. So they do both have double thickness waistbands and just kind of flat across waistbands here in the front and in the back. And they both have front seams, and that is kind of where it ends. Beyond Yoga does have a triangle gusset, and then there's some features I don't love about the Beyond Yoga leggings. First of all, we do have a little top stitch that I don't really find super necessary. It doesn't really cut into you too much, but it is there. And the way that their waistband is attached to the body of the legging is just a little bit bulky. This is what I mean by like slightly clunky design features with Beyond Yoga. I don't know why it's like this, but there's just a little extra thickness of the fabric all along the waistband area instead of just being like a nice sleek flat lock seam. The Quince leggings have no top band, and they just do have a sleek flat lock seam here, so none of that extra bulkiness, and then these do have the extended crotch gusset. Then this is where I feel like the Quince leggings were a little bit misleading. They call these the ultra soft high rise leggings. They compare these to the Beyond Yoga, which are obviously trying to be the space dye, and they show images of a heathered fabric on the website. I've actually never seen an affordable brand do one of these soft heathered fabrics at an affordable price, so I really thought Quince would be the first to do it based on their comparisons, but this fabric was pretty disappointing and really nothing at all similar to the Beyond Yoga Space Dye. Beyond Yoga Space Dye is a polyester elastane, which actually is a pretty similar breakdown to the polyester spandex of Quince. But this is where the TikTok shop salespeople also get it wrong. They're like, oh, it's the exact same fabric composition, therefore it must be the exact same fabric. But you can have two fabric compositions be exactly the same, and the fabrics will be incredibly different. So fabric composition only means so much. While the Space Dye has this ultra soft, kind of like dreamy hand feel, if you will, I guess that's why Buff Bunny calls it the Dream Heather. It really does have a very unique feel. The Quince ultra soft legging almost feels like a knit cotton jersey. It's a little bit soft, but it's really not very brushed. If you're expecting something like this fabric, you will be severely disappointed. More on these leggings, I did actually find these to be true to size, even more true to size than the Ultra Form leggings. They do come in a 25 and a 28-inch inseam. I appreciate the inseam lengths. These have a low to medium compression. I do feel like these actually hug and grip the body a little bit better than the Ultra Form as well. These do have that extended gusset. They're more medium glute friendly. These aren't going up the cheeks or anything. They're not a scrunch legging. So in terms of how good of a dupe this is, I would say it's really not that great of a dupe at all. It doesn't really have the structure or the fabric down. And is it worth it overall? I would say that these really actually aren't bad leggings. They do fit better than the Ultra Form leggings, but I can name 5 affordable brands right now that I prefer their leggings over these, and they're cheaper. So personally, I still wouldn't be going for these. To go with those leggings, we have the Quince Ultra Soft V-neck racer back bra. I got a size small, and this one is $29.90. This one is not a direct dupe. It's pretty similar to the Space Dye Lift Your Spirits bra from Beyond Yoga, but since they weren't exactly the same, I didn't get that one to compare. Just some quick info on this one. I did find this to be true to size. It's made of that same ultra soft fabric. Just because I know you guys love cat appearances. Here's Pinto. What's up, Betty? You do the cutest. My little boy. My little boy. So this has that same cottony marled feel, but it doesn't have that ultra soft heathered feel. We have the V neckline. We have the little piping detail that actually kind of like faux wraps in the front. It's not a true wrap. We have a little elastic along the bottom for some support. We have removable cut pads, and this is a racer back. Overall coverage on this one, I would say it's a medium coverage, but still pretty large cup size friendly. And this one also is a low support. Overall, I thought the design of this one was fine. It kind of reminds me of some of those Beyond Yoga bras. They're just like a little bit clunky, not a ton of support. It almost feels like a shirt with cup pads. It doesn't feel like it's well designed to like hold the girls up in a sports bra. And I'm just really not a huge fan of this fabric. So is this one worth it? I would say probably not. That's it for Beyond Yoga. Now we are moving on to Vuori. We have the Quince Flow Knit mid-rise joggers. I got them in a size small, and they are $31.92. Interesting. Compared to the Vuori Performance joggers, I got these in a size small, and they were $110. Guys, Vuori is Ian's favorite brand, and I forget how expensive they are. I personally don't have a ton of Vuori pieces, but they are very well known for these joggers. Again, very similar fabric compositions on these two. They are both recycled polyester elastane / spandex blends, but just because they're similar composition, again, doesn't mean they have a similar feel. We'll get into that in a second. These both have elasticated waistbands with drawstrings. The Vuori drawstring has this kind of signature pattern on it. The Quince drawstring is plain. They both have front pockets, and they both have kind of smooth jogger cuffs at the bottom. The only other feature I really noticed that was different for the Quince was it has a slightly bulkier seam down the front, but overall, nearly identical in the structure. And then we get to the biggest differences, which again, the fabric comes into play here. The Vuori Performance joggers, first of all, I think that's a very misleading name because these are like the loungiest lounge material that I've ever seen, and they call them the Performance joggers. But anyway, this material is actually very similar to the Beyond Yoga Space Dye, except a little bit more lightweight, but it has that ultra brushed heathered fabric. And again, Quince has given us a marled fabric, but if you actually really look up close and feel it, it's not that same ultra soft heathered brushed material. I think this fabric is definitely better than the ultra soft leggings, but it still doesn't have quite as dreamy of a feel as the Vuori joggers. Other than that, I do feel like the Quince had a bit more of a tight fit down the leg. Like they were pretty tight, almost entirely down my leg. And again, I do feel like Quince just kind of like misses some of those little attention to detail spots, especially when it comes to the fit. Because if we look at the hem of the joggers, you can see how the Vuori has like a little bit of like the wrinkling in the fabric because it has a little bit of extra fabric space. It's not just the same width from the cuff down the leg. It like gets a little bit bigger because it's a jogger. It's supposed to be a little bit baggy. And with the Quince, it's all just kind of flat across, very smooth, none of that wrinkling. And because of that, I just feel like I got more of a jogger fit out of the Vuoris. They had a little bit more of a relaxed look, where it felt like it was tight on kind of most of my leg on the Quince joggers. So overall for the Quince joggers, they are mostly true to size. They are very stretchy, so they were fine in the size that I got, but if you want more of a relaxed jogger fit, definitely size up. Mine came in a 25-inch inseam, which are a little bit short. They also have the men's version, which is a 27-inch inseam, but I think it's kind of a unisex fit, so you could really go either way. These are more of a mid-rise. They did hit right below my belly button. The fit, again, tight on most of my legs, really only relaxed around my knees and maybe my waist a little bit. So are these a good dupe? Honestly, I would say that these are not a bad dupe. Are they perfect? No, but I think overall they're a pretty good jogger. So I would say that these are worth it, but the only thing that is keeping me from saying that they're worth it is the fact that I have these $14.99 Costco joggers, which are also a dupe for the Vuori Performance joggers. I saw these at Costco. I was not looking for clothing. I just saw them. They were $14.99. So I was like, all right, I'm getting them. And the fabric on these So soft. Costco definitely nailed the fabric. They are very similar to the Vuori Performance joggers, and they are much better than the Quince, and they're also half the price of the Quince. So obviously Costco has very slim margins, but Quince is also claiming to have slim margins. But I'm a Costco girly through and through. Take me to Costco, and that's a good time. Anyways, these also aren't quite exact. They have a slightly higher rise, and the ankle cuff on these is just an elasticated cuff. But unfortunately, I do think that these are seasonal, so they're not available right now. But if you ever see these at Costco, just know they're good. And then I also got the Quince Flow Knit Full Zip hoodie. I got a size small. This one is $35. I'm sure there is a Vuori similar version of this as well, but I figured we compared enough dupes, so I did just want to talk about this one really quick. So this is made of that same material. Again, it's pretty soft. It's not quite as dreamy and luxurious as the Vuori Performance joggers. It's a full zip hoodie. It does have a split kangaroo pocket in the front. Pretty high quality YKK zippers. Love to see it. And we have a drawstring hood and very simple otherwise. This one, again, is about a mid-hip length. And I think the material on this one is fine, but again, the fit is just a little bit off. The arms are pretty slim. They weren't skin tight on me, but if I sized down, the arms would definitely be super tight. And throughout the entire torso area, I had a lot of room. So this is a hoodie, so it's not meant to be a slim fit, but personally, I like my hoodies and sweatshirts to have a little bit of a balance between like not being too tight on the arms and relaxed in the torso. Like if you're going to have a really relaxed torso area, I want a little bit more room in the arms. And I felt like it was getting just a little bit tight in the arms there. So I just don't feel like the sizing and fit is like super cohesive. But again, not bad, just personally not something I'd really reach for. And I did just pick up one last item. It's not a dupe, but like I said at the beginning of the video, Quince is known for their basics in high quality fabrics. They especially like to talk about silk, linen, cotton, cashmere, and wool on their website. So when I saw that they have a 100% merino wool all seasons base layer tee, I said, this is what Quince should be doing. And alas, I think this may be the best item in the entire haul. First of all, I got a size small. This is $39.90 for 100% merino wool. And it's not even a bad merino wool. I get a lot of comments to say, Catherine, can you review natural fiber activewear? And I point you guys to the video that I've already done. So always make sure to search things with my name because most of the video requests I get, I have already done. But in that video, I reviewed a brand called Wooli, which makes merino wool activewear. And I felt like a lot of their merino wool tops were really sheer and I just wasn't a big fan. So I'm very impressed with the opacity of this top. Besides the fact that it can be slightly itchy, I think merino wool is the best natural fiber for activewear because it has good temperature regulation. It keeps you cool and can keep you warm. It's also very quick drying and moisture wicking compared to cotton, which just retains all of that moisture, which is why I don't understand why people want cotton workout sets when it just soaks up all the liquid. But anyways, merino wool does not do that. And of course, it's a natural fiber and it is also breathable. So this top has a crew neckline, a short sleeve, and a slim tee fit. It's an over the hip length, it's relaxed, and it just has really good drape to it, and it's not awkwardly tight on the arms and awkwardly loose in the waist. The fit on this one is actually really good and flattering, especially for being a relaxed fit. So I think Quince Activewear would have so much more potential if they just stopped focusing on the dupes and focus on basics that they can really refine the fit of and maybe even use some natural fibers like merino wool. Like I said, the thickness and opacity on this one is really good. It's soft, it's not too itchy, it actually has a little bit of give to it, and it has really nice flow. So this one is definitely worth it. All right, you guys, that is it for the deep dive into Quince activewear dupes. So after all of that, is Quince our one-stop shop for high quality activewear dupes? Absolutely not. Honestly, every single piece today, I have affordable options that I like more that may be a little bit cheaper as well. I think the biggest disappointment today was the fabrics because I think Quince can actually make a really good fabric. We see that merino wool, they sell 100% cashmere that I've heard good things about. Again, haven't tried it myself. Maybe we need to do a video reviewing their regular clothing, but they clearly can make high quality basic clothing in good fabrics. It's just really not translating to their activewear. I truly did want to love the pieces today because I always like having more affordable brands to recommend to you guys, but I think these pieces kind of speak for themselves. The fit just wasn't right, the fabric just wasn't right, and I just can't give my true recommendation. So again, this is why I don't accept sponsorships until I try everything myself. So if you've ever tried Quince or Quince Activewear, leave a comment down below and let me know what you think. I did ask you guys a while ago on Instagram what you thought of Quince in general. Most of you guys had tried their regular clothing and liked it, but I don't think too many of you guys tried their activewear, and I do think that is a totally different story. If you made it this far, I have a feeling this is a long video. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to give the video a thumbs up and subscribe for more. I appreciate you guys all so much, and I'll see you next time. Bye!